Have you ever wondered what the most terrifying sound in the world is? For many people who live alone, it isn't a bump in the night or the scream of a siren. It's silence. The silence that follows a moment of sudden, inexplicable change within your own body. Imagine this for a moment. Take a man we'll call Harold. Harold is 78 years old, a retired engineer who prides himself on his sharp mind and his orderly life. He lives in the same house he and his late wife, Eleanor, bought 50 years ago. One Tuesday morning, he's standing at the kitchen sink, rinsing his coffee cup, when a strange, shimmering curtain seems to drop over his right eye. He blinks. It doesn't go away. Then, a wave of dizziness so profound washes over him that the porcelain sink feels like it's tilting, like the deck of a ship in a storm. His hand, the one holding the cup, suddenly feels like it belongs to someone else. It's clumsy, weak. The cup slips from his grasp and shatters on the floor. In that moment, Harold's well-ordered world shatters with it. He knows something is terribly, terribly wrong. But the truth is, for the millions of us over the age of 60, and especially over 75, who cherish our independence and live alone, this scenario isn't just a story. It's a real and pressing possibility that lurks quietly behind the scenes of our daily lives. We celebrate our ability to live on our own terms, to keep our own schedules, to enjoy the peace of our own homes. And we should. But the reality is that very independence creates a unique and profound vulnerability. When a medical emergency strikes, and specifically a stroke, there is no one in the next room to notice the slurred word, no one to see the drooping face, no one to call for help when you cannot. Here's what really happens in those critical moments. Confusion sets in. The brain, starved of oxygen, begins to malfunction in ways that are bewildering and frightening. The simple act of picking up a phone can become an impossible puzzle. This could be you. This could be your parent, your friend, your neighbor. The stakes could not be higher. We are talking about the stark difference between a full or near full recovery and a life irrevocably altered. The line between returning to your cherished home and routines and moving into a facility that requires round-the-clock care is often drawn in the first hour of a stroke. It's a mortality stake, a situation where minutes, literally minutes, can determine not just the quality of the rest of your life, but its length. And the most heartbreaking part is that so many of the devastating outcomes could have been prevented with a little bit of knowledge and preparation. That is why this video is so important. I am going to share with you the things no one ever tells you about how to handle a stroke when you are completely alone. We will go beyond the basic medical advice and give you a practical, actionable plan, a set of life-saving steps you can put in place today. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. It's about how to change your environment and your habits to build a fortress of safety around your independence. Stay until the end, because the fifth and final step we will discuss is a simple, often overlooked preparation strategy that could be the single most important thing you do for your safety this year. It's a powerful tool for maintaining your independence that your doctor might not even think to mention, but it has saved countless lives. Let's begin with the first, most fundamental step. This is the foundation upon which all other actions are built. Step 1 is to not just know, but to master the F.A.S.T. acronym and its subtle, often missed variations. Now, many of you have likely heard of F.A.S.T. It stands for face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call emergency services. It's a brilliant and effective tool. The problem is, especially in older adults, a stroke doesn't always read the textbook. It can present quietly, subtly, with symptoms that are incredibly easy to dismiss as just a sign of getting older, a senior moment, or a bit of fatigue. What's tricky about this is that our own minds can betray us. We are conditioned to downplay our ailments, to not make a fuss. We think, oh, I'm just a little dizzy, or I must have slept on my arm funny, or I'm just tired and can't find my words. This dismissal, this moment of hesitation, is the stroke's greatest ally. Medical research indicates that these atypical presentations are more common as we age, and they are a primary reason for dangerous delays in seeking treatment. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Take the story of Margaret, an 81-year-old retired librarian from a quiet town in Pennsylvania. Margaret was the epitome of aging gracefully. She lived alone in a small, tidy cottage surrounded by her books and her rose garden. Her mind was her prized possession. She did the crossword puzzle in ink every single morning. One afternoon, while reading in her favorite armchair, she felt a strange sense of detachment, a mental fogginess that was more than just sleepiness. She stood up to get a glass of water and suddenly felt unsteady, as if the floor were slightly tilted. She reached out to steady herself against a bookshelf. She didn't have a classic face droop. Her arm didn't feel profoundly weak, just a little clumsy. When she tried to think of the word for the thing you drink water out of, the word glass just wouldn't come. She knew what it was. She could see it in her mind, but the connection between the thought and the word was gone. What she didn't realize was that these were the insidious, subtle signs of a stroke occurring deep within the language center of her brain. Her first thought wasn't stroke. Her first thought was, "Oh dear, I must be more tired than I thought. Maybe I'm getting a bit of a cold." She decided to lie down for a little while, to wait it out. For 2.5 hours, Margaret rested, feeling confused and increasingly anxious, but convinced it would pass. It was only when her daughter called for their daily chat that the true nature of the problem became apparent. Her daughter, hearing Margaret's halting, confused speech, immediately recognized something was terribly wrong and called 911. The consequences of that 2.5-hour delay were significant. By the time Margaret arrived at the hospital, she had missed the critical window for the most effective clot-busting drug, TPA, which must be administered within 3 to 4.5 hours of the first symptom. Those lost hours, spent waiting it out, meant that a part of her brain responsible for language was permanently damaged. It led to months of frustrating speech therapy and a lingering difficulty with finding words, a heartbreaking reality for a woman who had spent her life cherishing them. Her story is a vital lesson. Ignoring or downplaying subtle symptoms is a gamble with your brain cells, and it's a bet you cannot afford to lose. So what is the solution? The solution is to expand your knowledge and heighten your suspicion. Fortunately, the good news is that this is entirely within your control. Here's what you can do about it, starting today. First, you must adopt the more comprehensive acronym, B.E.F.A.S.T. The B stands for balance. A sudden loss of balance, a feeling of vertigo or dizziness that comes out of nowhere, is a major red flag. The E stands for eyes. A sudden loss of vision in one or both eyes, or the appearance of double vision, is a critical warning sign. Think of Harold and the shimmering curtain in his eye. That was a stroke. These two additions cover many of the atypical symptoms that people like Margaret experience. Your first actionable step is to make this visible. Go online and order a B.E.F.A.S.T. magnet for your refrigerator. Every time you go to get the milk, you will see it. It will seep into your subconscious. Second, practice what I call a daily systems check. It takes 10 seconds. When you brush your teeth in the morning, look in the mirror and give a big, toothy grin. Check for symmetry. Then, raise both of your arms straight out in front of you for 5 seconds. See if one drifts down. And finally, say a simple, clear sentence out loud, like, "The sky is blue today," or, "I'm going to have a good day." This isn't about vanity. It's about establishing a daily baseline. If one morning your smile is crooked, or your arm drifts, or your words are slurred, you won't have to wonder if it's new. You will know. Third, and this is crucial, make a pact with yourself. Promise yourself that if you experience any of these signs, B, E, F, A, or S, you will not wait. You will not lie down. You will not see how it goes. You will treat it as a true emergency and immediately call for help. This mental shift from wait and see to act and see is perhaps the most important change you can make. Recognizing these signs, both the classic and the subtle, is the first battle in surviving a stroke alone. But what you do in the next 60 seconds after recognition is the second battle, and in many ways, it's even more critical for your survival and future independence. Now let's move forward to the second life-saving step. This one is about your immediate physical action in the seconds after you suspect a stroke. I call it the floor is your friend protocol. The problem is that our natural human instinct in a moment of crisis is often the exact wrong thing to do. When you feel that sudden weakness, dizziness, or confusion, your first impulse might be to stand up and steady yourself, or to walk across the room to get to your phone or a comfortable chair. This is, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous things you can do. A stroke compromises your balance and motor control. Attempting to walk is like trying to cross a tightrope in an earthquake. The risk of a fall is extraordinarily high. And a fall during a stroke isn't just a fall. It's a potential catastrophe that compounds the original emergency. It can cause a secondary, devastating injury like a broken hip, a shattered shoulder, or, most terrifyingly, a traumatic brain injury from hitting your head. Let's look at someone like George. George was a 79-year-old widower, a former Marine who was immensely proud of his physical resilience. He started every day with a walk around the block. One afternoon, as he was watering his plants in the living room, he felt a sudden, profound weakness flood his entire left side. His left leg felt like it was made of sand. His first thought, born of a lifetime of self-reliance, was, "I need to get to my recliner and sit down." His phone was on the end table right next to it. He took one step. His left knee buckled. He took a second, stumbling step, and then his leg gave out completely. George, a strong man, fell sideways with no ability to break his fall. His head struck the corner of his heavy oak coffee table with a sickening thud. He was momentarily knocked unconscious. When he came to, not only was his left side paralyzed from the stroke, but he was bleeding profusely from a gash on his temple, and the fall had fractured his hip. The paramedics, when they finally arrived after a neighbor heard the crash, were faced with a complex trauma situation on top of an acute stroke. The fall turned what might have been a recoverable ischemic stroke into a life-altering event that required emergency surgery for the head injury and the hip, all before they could even fully address the stroke itself. The consequences of a fall during a stroke are chilling. As we saw with George, it can cause severe secondary injuries that complicate and delay stroke treatment. If you are on blood thinners, which millions of seniors are for conditions like atrial fibrillation, a fall that causes a head injury can lead to a catastrophic brain bleed. A broken hip can mean major surgery and a long, painful rehabilitation that is made infinitely more difficult when you are also recovering from a stroke. Perhaps most critically, a fall might render you unconscious or injure you so badly that you are physically unable to crawl to a phone or press a medical alert button. You become completely helpless, silent, waiting for discovery. It turns a manageable medical emergency into a multi-layered trauma. The solution is a simple, counterintuitive, but life-saving mental script. The floor is your friend. The moment you feel any of the B.E.F.A.S.T symptoms, your one and only physical goal is to get yourself to the floor as safely and quickly as possible. Do not try to walk to a chair. Do not try to make it to your bed. Deliberately, consciously, lower yourself to the ground. If you're near a wall, slide down it. If you're near a sturdy piece of furniture, hold on to it as you lower yourself. If you're in the open, get down on your hands and knees and then lie down. The floor prevents you from falling any further. It is the safest place you can be. From the floor, you are in a position of relative safety to execute your next move, which is calling for help. Here are the actionable steps to make this protocol second nature. First, and this is non-negotiable for anyone over 75 living alone, your phone must be on your person at all times. Not on the charger in the kitchen, not in your purse on the hall table, but in your pocket. Wear pants with pockets. Buy a small, lightweight wearable pouch or lanyard for your cell phone. This single habit is a lifeline. Second, if keeping a phone on you is absolutely not possible, you must create a floor-level communication plan. This means having a phone or a medical alert button within reach from the floor in the rooms where you spend the most time, like the living room and bedroom. You can get an inexpensive, basic landline phone and place it on the floor behind a couch or chair. Third, practice the move. This might sound silly, but visualization is a powerful tool. Sit in your favorite chair and mentally rehearse it. I feel dizzy. My arm is weak. I am not standing up. I am sliding out of this chair and onto the floor. By preloading this decision, you override the dangerous instinct to stand and walk during a real event. By embracing the floor as your friend, you eliminate the massive risk of a fall and give yourself the best possible chance to get the help you need. So you've recognized the signs, and you've made yourself safe on the floor. Now, the clock is ticking. Who you call and what you say is the next crucial piece of the survival puzzle. This brings us to our third and incredibly practical, life-saving step, the the unlock and alert procedure. The problem this addresses is one that is so simple, yet so profoundly dangerous, and it happens all the time. You have successfully recognized the stroke. You have gotten yourself safely to the floor. You have your phone, and you have made the most important call of your life to 911. You have done everything right so far. But then the paramedics arrive, lights flashing, ready to save your life, and they are met with a locked door. Every single second that those highly trained professionals spend trying to figure out how to get into your home, banging on the door, trying windows, waiting for the fire department to arrive with a ram, is a second your brain is being starved of oxygen and vital nutrients. It's a devastating and entirely preventable delay. Behind that locked door, your condition may be worsening, your ability to speak may be fading, and the window for effective treatment is slamming shut. Consider the story of Eleanor, who was 84 years old. She lived alone on the third floor of a very secure and well-maintained apartment building. She was fiercely independent and valued her privacy and safety, which is why she always kept her door double-bolted. One evening, while watching television, she experienced the classic, terrifying signs of a major stroke. Her face drooped on one side, and her speech became a garbled mess. With immense effort, using her one good hand, she managed to drag the phone to her and dial 911. She could only make guttural sounds into the phone, but the dispatcher, thankfully, understood the gravity, got her address from the system, and sent help immediately. The paramedics were at her building in under 6 minutes. But her apartment door was locked. The building's front door was also locked and required a code. They buzzed every apartment, but no one answered who knew her. By this point, Eleanor was lying on the floor, conscious, hearing the banging on her door, but completely unable to move or speak to tell them how to get in. It took another 10 agonizing minutes for the fire department to be called and to force her heavy, double-bolted door open. 10 minutes. In the world of stroke treatment, that is an eternity. Those 10 minutes were the difference between her being a candidate for a procedure to physically remove the clot and that option being off the table. The consequences of a locked door are stark and brutal. The primary consequence is a critical delay in treatment. Paramedics cannot help you if they cannot reach you. This delay directly impacts outcomes. It can mean more extensive and permanent brain damage, leading to more severe long-term disabilities like paralysis, speech loss, or cognitive impairment. It can mean the difference between a few weeks of rehab and a lifetime of dependency. It creates a situation of unimaginable stress and helplessness for the person inside, who knows help is just feet away but is powerless to grant them access. It is a logistical nightmare that has tragic medical consequences. Fortunately, the solution is straightforward and involves some simple pre-planning. Here's what you can do to implement the unlock and alert procedure. There are several excellent options, and you can choose the one that best fits your life. The first and most critical part is a mental one. If you are physically able, after calling 911, your very next task is to get to the front door and unlock it. Even if you have to crawl, this should be your mission. Lie down right by the door so the paramedics see you immediately when they enter. If you cannot get to the door, you need a backup system. The best low-tech solution is a key lockbox. These are the small, sturdy boxes that real estate agents use. They cost very little and can be purchased online or at any hardware store. You place a spare key inside, set a simple combination, and hang it somewhere discreet like a back doorknob or a railing. The crucial step is to then give this combination to the 911 dispatchers in your area so they can add it to your file. When you call, you can say, "There is a key in the lockbox. The code is 1-2-3-4. A second option is to give a key to a trusted, close-by neighbor. Not a neighbor who works all day, but perhaps another retiree you trust implicitly. Make a plan with them. If you ever get a call from me or my family saying there's an emergency, please use your key to let the paramedics in. A third, more modern option is a smart lock. These can be installed on your door and allow you or a designated family member to unlock the door remotely using a smartphone app. Your daughter who lives across town could unlock your door for the paramedics from her own home. Whatever system you choose, the key is to have one. The alert part of the procedure is what you say on the phone. When you call 911, you must state your name, your full address, that you believe you are having a stroke, and, critically, the status of your door. The front door is unlocked. Or, There is a key in the lockbox by the back door. This piece of information is as vital as your address. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Now let's move forward. This leads us to our 4th life-saving step, which is about arming your rescuers with the information they need to save you. This step is about creating your emergency go packet and a vital information sheet. The problem is this: when paramedics rush into your home, they are working against the clock. They find you on the floor, and you may be confused, unable to speak clearly, or even unconscious. They need to know your medical story, and they need to know it right now. What medications are you taking? Are you allergic to anything? Do you have any underlying conditions like diabetes or a heart arrhythmia? Who is your doctor? Who should they call in your family? Every moment they spend searching your home for a pill bottle, trying to find a piece of paper with a doctor's number, or waiting for a panicked family member to call them back with this information, is another moment of delayed and potentially less effective treatment. Let me tell you about Robert, a 77-year-old retired accountant. Robert was a very private man, especially about his health. He managed several chronic conditions, including atrial fibrillation and high blood pressure, but he didn't like to bother his children with the details. He had a stroke one morning while getting dressed. The paramedics arrived quickly, thanks to his medical alert button. They found him conscious but with severe aphasia, meaning he understood them but could not produce any words himself. He couldn't answer their questions. They saw he was in distress and knew it was a stroke, but they were flying blind. They had no idea he was taking a powerful blood thinner, Eliquis, for his atrial fibrillation. This one piece of information was absolutely critical. Certain clot-busting drugs cannot be given to patients on specific blood thinners due to the risk of causing a massive brain hemorrhage. At the hospital, the ER doctors were in the same position. His daughter, who lived an hour away, was on the phone, frantically trying to remember the names of his medications, calling his pharmacy, which was initially closed, and trying to piece together a medical history that her proud, private father had never fully shared with her. This scramble for information created a dangerous delay and limited the treatment options the doctors could safely consider. The consequences of this information gap are profound. It can lead to dangerous medical errors. For instance, administering a medication that has a severe interaction with a drug you are already taking can be catastrophic. It can lead to a delayed diagnosis as doctors have to run more tests to figure out your baseline health status. It prevents them from making the fastest, most informed decisions about your care, especially regarding time-sensitive interventions like thrombectomy, where they physically remove the clot. It also places an immense and unfair burden on your family, who are forced to become medical detectives in a moment of extreme emotional distress. It's a situation where a lack of simple organization can have life-threatening consequences. The solution is remarkably simple and costs almost nothing. You prepare an emergency go packet. The good news is this is something you can do this afternoon, and it will give you and your family incredible peace of mind. Here's what you can do to take control. You are going to create a single, clear, easy-to-read sheet of paper. You can type it or write it in very clear block letters. At the top, put vital medical information for your name. Then, list the following: your full name and date of birth, your primary care physician's name and phone number, your preferred hospital, if you have one, a list of at least 2 emergency contacts with their names, relationship to you, and phone numbers. The next section is the most important: a complete list of all your medications. This must include the name of the drug, e.g., lisinopril, the dosage, e.g., 10 milligrams, and the frequency, e.g., once daily. Don't forget to include over-the-counter drugs you take regularly, like aspirin or vitamins. Next, a list of any and all allergies, especially to medications like penicillin or sulfa drugs. Finally, a list of your major medical conditions or surgical history, e.g., atrial fibrillation, type 2 diabetes, coronary artery stents 2018, knee replacement 2020. Once you have this single sheet of paper, make at least 3 copies. Place the first copy inside a bright red envelope or a plastic sleeve. Tape this to the front of your refrigerator. Paramedics are trained to look there for this exact type of information. It is a universal location. Put the second copy in your wallet or purse, right behind your driver's license. Put the third copy in an envelope, give it to your primary emergency contact, and tell them to put it somewhere safe. This single piece of paper becomes your voice when you have none. It speaks for you, protects you, and ensures you get the fastest, safest, and most effective care possible. Having your medical information ready is a game changer for the paramedics. But there's one final step, a preparation that happens long before the emergency, that might be the most powerful of all. We now arrive at our fifth and final life-saving step. This step confronts the deepest fear of many seniors who live alone, the fear of the silent fall, the fear of having a stroke and being completely unable to call for help. The problem is the nightmare scenario. A stroke occurs, perhaps a massive one, that renders you unconscious or paralyzes you so completely that you cannot move, cannot speak, and cannot activate any kind of alarm. You could lie there for hours, or even days, helpless. This isn't just about a delay in treatment. It's about a total absence of it when every second counts. It represents the ultimate loss of control and is a source of profound, unspoken anxiety for millions. For adult children, it's the worry that keeps them up at night. For the senior living alone, it's the dark, what if, that can undermine the joy of their hard-won independence. Let's look at the heartbreaking story of Helen. Helen was 82 years old, a widow for a decade, and as she liked to say, fiercely independent. She had refused her children's suggestions to move into a senior community, loving the freedom of her own home and garden. Her children respected her wishes, but they worried. Helen's routine was her own. One Thursday morning, she had a stroke while getting out of the shower. It was sudden and severe. She collapsed on the tile floor of the bathroom, a room where she, like many people, did not have a phone. She was conscious but completely unable to move or make a sound. She was trapped. Her son, Bill, had a routine of his own. He called his mother every few days and visited every Sunday. He had called her on Wednesday evening, and she had sounded fine. He didn't think to call on Thursday or Friday. When he arrived on Sunday afternoon for his weekly visit, he found the newspapers piled up on the porch and a terrible feeling washed over him. He used his key to enter the house and found his mother on the bathroom floor, alive, but just barely. She had been there for nearly 72 hours. The consequences of such a profound delay are almost always catastrophic and irreversible. The brain damage from the untreated stroke was massive and permanent. But on top of that, she suffered from severe dehydration, kidney failure, and pressure sores that had developed on her skin from lying in one position for so long. There was also muscle breakdown, a condition called rhabdomyolysis, which further damaged her kidneys. The vibrant, fiercely independent woman who had walked into that bathroom on Thursday morning was gone forever. After a long and difficult hospitalization, Helen could not return home. She required care in a full-time nursing facility until the end of her life. Her independence, the thing she valued most, was lost in those silent, helpless hours on the bathroom floor. This is a devastating story, but the good news is there is a powerful and effective solution. It's not about giving up independence. It's about securing it with a safety net. The solution is what I call the daily check-in lifeline system. This isn't one single product. It's a strategy, a pact you make to ensure you are never truly out of contact for long. It's a simple, non-intrusive system that can be adapted to any personality and budget. Here are the actionable steps you can take to build your lifeline. The first and simplest is the buddy system. Find one person, a trusted neighbor, a friend from church, a family member, and establish a daily check-in. This does not need to be a long, drawn-out conversation. It can be a simple text message every morning that just says, "Morning," or "All good." It could be a quick 1-minute phone call at the same time each day. It could even be a visual signal. If my kitchen blinds aren't open by 10 a.m., something is wrong. The agreement is that if the check-in is missed, the buddy follows a simple protocol. 1. Call the phone. 2. If no answer, call again in 15 minutes. 3. If still no answer, go to the house and check in person if they are local. 4. If they cannot get an answer at the door, they are to call 911 and request a wellness check. This simple, reliable system closes the window of time you could be left helpless from days down to just hours or even minutes. A second option is to use technology. There are now services and smartphone apps designed for this very purpose. They will automatically call your phone at a preset time each day. If you don't answer and press a number to confirm you're okay, the service will automatically begin alerting your emergency contacts. This automates the buddy system. The third, and perhaps most well-known option, is a medical alert system. The classic, "I've fallen and I can't get up" button is still an incredibly effective tool. Modern versions are even better. They come as waterproof pendants or wristbands, and many now include automatic fall detection. So if you have a sudden fall, the device calls for help automatically, even if you are unconscious. Subscribing to one of these services is not a sign of weakness or frailty. It is a sign of intelligence. It is a tool of empowerment. It is the ultimate statement that you intend to live independently and safely on your own terms for as long as humanly possible. Please comment number 5 below to let me know you're here. Your commitment to learning this is truly important. Now let's move forward. Take a moment to reflect on these 5 steps we've just walked through. It's a journey that begins in your own mind, with the knowledge to recognize the subtle signs of a stroke using B.E.F.A.S.T. It moves to an immediate, conscious physical action, getting safely to the floor to prevent a devastating fall. From there, it becomes a logistical plan, ensuring help can get in the door without delay through the unlock and alert procedure. Then, it's about arming those helpers with the emergency go packet, your voice when you have none. And finally, it's about weaving a daily check-in lifeline, a safety net that ensures you are never truly alone and unheard. Now that we've covered these life-saving strategies, I want you to understand the most important truth. You have control. The future is not set in stone. These dangers, these fears, are not foregone conclusions. These are not steps about living in fear of a stroke. Quite the opposite. These are empowering actions you can take to strip that fear of its power. Small changes make big differences. Putting a magnet on your fridge, placing a key in a lockbox, typing up a single sheet of paper, arranging a morning phone call. These are small, manageable tasks. But their collective impact on your safety and your future is immense. By preparing for a worst-case scenario, you are not inviting it. You are mastering it. You are actively securing your ability to live with the dignity, respect, and independence you have earned over a lifetime. Each of these 5 steps is a thread. When you weave them together, the knowledge, the physical plan, the access, the information, and the communication, you create a powerful web of safety around yourself. It transforms you from a potential victim of circumstance into a proactive guardian of your own well-being. This is the essence of true independence. It's not just about living alone. It's about living alone wisely, safely, and with a plan. It's about honoring the wisdom you carry by using it to protect your most valuable asset, your health and your future. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.